Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, 4 nerds, by nerds, hang out with these nerds.
Nathan Nerdarch.
Nerdarchy is Ted.
And today we're going to get fast, we're going to get dirty, we're going to create a Shadow Death Knight.
Jump down the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy the newsletter, get weekly gaming tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
So today we're going to do a fast and dirty monster, but of epic proportions.
So it's Halloween time, so let's make something that's, utterly horrifying, terrifying, what have you.
And I had an epic level evil campaign back in the day in college, and I had a particular character, and that's what I kind of wanted to base this idea off of.
So I think me and you were talking when we were driving, on a road trip driving, and you were telling me about this character, and I'm like, oh, to me it kind of reminded me of a ring wraith. So I was like, oh, why not? Why not like merge it with Wraith or something? And then you're like, wow, it's funny you should mention Wraith because he's all about the shadow.
All right, so if we look at Shadow on page 269, we got a creature that's only a challenge half. So what kind of benefits would we be able to, derive from that?
Well, sometimes it's not about the benefit; it's about the feel, and the look.
No, he does have kind of like that Shadowfell kind of like influence of Shadow.
Yeah, like I'm envisioning a suit of armor, but everywhere where you can see a piece of person would be poking out. Instead, it is a shadow. It's all made of shadows.
I think that'll go along well with the theme of it.
But you can go even further than to the point of saying, oh, not only is that, but he can actually become a corporal. So like he is kind of made of shadow stuff, even the armor bits and stuff. So and what that does is that means you can walk through walls. Kind of blend into darkness.
Yeah, you can escape or hide just beyond, out of sight, behind something, and then pop through towards anybody.
And it's also kind of like a common trope for things like that to like be able to teleport through shadow as well. So these are all things that you could play with.
Yeah, so it's got that shadow wraith feel, but it's definitely overpowered. It's not like a little...
Well, you had said that this was for an epic level game.
Yes.
So we're talking about something that was initially created as an over 20th level game.
Yes, indeed. So I was thinking on slapping the Shadow Wraith around something pumpty and undead. But not a lich. It wasn't a super spellcaster. It was more like,
a dark knight.
Yeah, like
or
a dark
like
knight.
A death knight.
Death Knight. So on page 47, we have Death Knight.
So Death Knight comes with a whole host of powerful abilities. He is a challenge 17. Yeah. That is mighty to be saying as this is going to be our base that we're going to start building from.
Yeah, base AC 20.
So I think we found a better monster when we were talking than the Shadow to incorporate.
Yes.
But we still want to steal something from the Shadow and add it to the Death Knight.
So what were you looking to steal here? The Shadow Stealth or the Strength Drain?
I think we were looking for the Strength Drain, that innovative attack, right?
Yeah, something that can allow it to make more shades.
So I think if we actually tear that apart, take that Strength Drain, add it to our Death Knight, but that attack would create shadows.
And not only that, I would do it something where he actually uses it in conjunction with his weapon. So as part of his weapon attack. So how much damage does that attack do?
It does 2d6 plus 2 necrotic.
So that's nothing to add that to this Death Knight's attack.
But it reduces the target strength by d4.
Even better.
Yeah, that's actually probably the scarier part of adding it to it.
And if you consider that too, you're fighting this guy and say you're a champion-like character yourself and a warrior, what could be worse than like slowly but surely having your strength zapped away from you the longer you fight with the more wounds you take? That's pretty scary.
Now this guy, does he have multi-attack?
Yes, he has multi-attack.
Okay, well I was saying that if he could actually strike you 3 times, that's 3 die 4 off your strength.
Oh yeah, if he catches you unawares or has a really good bout that round, everything except the fighter is going to have a hard time.
I think even the fighter might have a hard time.
Well, yeah, 3d4, yes, that's going to be a problem.
You're losing you could possibly be losing 3 to 12 points of strength.
And if you're a dex-based fighter, you might have not gone with a high strength.
All right, so now as we said that there was something that we were looking at or found better to merge with beyond Shadow. So what else are we looking at?
All right, so one of the things, so we take the thing from Shadow, or the Strength Drain, added to the weapon. Now there's a Shadow Demon going along with the Shadow theme some more. And the nice thing about the Shadow Demon is it has a ability called Shadow Stealth. So while in dim light or darkness, the demon can just take a hide action as a bonus action.
Now, shadows have that as well.
Oh, they do.
They do.
So it may not even matter which one we use.
I like saying we take it from the Shadow Demon.
Well, when it's all said and done, we've created a new monster, and none of that is going to matter.
This is true. This is true.
So the Fast and Dirty, is there anything else your Death Knight?
Well, we've got... do we have Incorporeal yet? We have Incorporeal.
Yes, we're going to take Incorporeal from either the Shadow Demon or the Shadow. It doesn't actually matter which one, but we're going to grab Incorporeal. We're going to grab the ability to do the
strength drain.
The strength drain, and we're also going to take the Shadow Stealth.
Yes.
Now, if we look at this thing being completely incorporeal, does the Death Knight have vulnerability to radiant?
So it's a matter of whether we decide we want to give it that vulnerability, or if you want to give it the sunlight sensitivity that the other. And I feel like it probably should at the very least have sunlight sensitivity.
I agree. I think that it's so beyond a Death Knight and going so much into the Shadow realm that it should probably have some detriment for being in broad daylight.
And I think the Death Knight is normally a CR 17. If I was statting this out of my game, I would probably bump it up like 2 because it has strength drain more than anything. The other thing is because he's going to be super stealthy, so that's going to give the players a hard time. I don't think the daylight or the sunlight sensitivity is going to be a huge problem for him.
If you're a DM putting this guy out in sunlight, you're playing it wrong. And if the players, cast the light spell or daylight spell to invoke this, kudos to them.
Right, and it's not going to be easy anyway, because I do believe that your Death Knight has a little bit of spell casting.
Yes, it has a 19th level spell casting ability, more like a paladin than a wizard. So it's going to have up to 5th level spells, and Dispel Magic's one of those.
Right, so he's got some ways to work around it. I would personally, if I was using this in my game, I would probably reflavor that Hell Orb to do something else, maybe cold damage and necrotic damage, and maybe even change its type depending on how I want it to portray him.
Yeah, you mean like change it maybe to a cone rather than a orb?
A cone, a line, something different. The Hell Orb is essentially like the fireball from Hell. But since this is our shadow guy, I could definitely see him breathing out a cone of darkness and shadow that's cold. It's cold and causes cold damage, and also as well as the necrotic damage. So I would just change it up a little bit.
So I would see this guy, especially with the shadow stealth ability, being able to move through the shadows, obliterate the strength of his enemies, and disappear within the darkness. You could literally tear an entire party apart with something like this.
So do you think, now, is that just him hiding, or are you thinking we need a shadow teleport? I like shadow teleport.
I think shadow teleporting is good. So if it's in darkness while fighting, and it's got the ability to do that, I think it would be great.
Yeah, we could say what, like the distance of a Misty Step, treat it like Misty Step.
Yeah, you could literally just look at the ability from the Shadow Monk, and kind of like model it off of that. But so yeah, I would say Misty Step.
Yeah, dip it into the player's handbook, but I like that addition.
Yeah, or you could even you maybe play with what kind of action it takes, something like that, so they don't have to use their actions to do it so much. They're just moving around, making them super mobile.
A terrifying monster in the shadows that can really come out and nail you. That's going to be a nasty combo.
Now, your original character, he actually wrote a Shadow Dragon.
Yeah, he wrote a Shadow Dragon. Used the Shadow Dragon template from a previous edition, but they have that in 5th for dragons, so could easily just crank one of those out as well.
Or did he actually just write a Shadow Dragon? In previous editions, we had a Shadow Dragon, and we probably had the Shadow template as well.
I wonder. I want to say it was a black dragon that had the Shadow template on it.
Nice. And also, which we'll be creating shortly, whether it goes before or after this video, we'll be doing the Shadow Well, and that is a magic item, a legendary magic item that he carried.
Yes.
Excellent. What do you guys think? Would you use the Shadow Death Knight in your game? We got a place for it down below in the comments. While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
You can check out the articles over at nerdarchy.com.
Hang out with us over on Facebook.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.
Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, 4 nerds, by nerds, hang out with these nerds.
Nathan Nerdark.
Nerdark is Ted.
And today we're going to get fast. We're going to get dirty. We're going to create a Shadow Death Knight.
Jump down the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy, the newsletter, get weekly gaming tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
So today we're going to do a fast and dirty monster but of epic proportions.
So it's Halloween time, so let's make something that's, utterly horrifying, terrifying, what have you.
It reminded me of a ring wraith. So I was like, oh, why not? Why not like merge it with Wraith or something? And then you're like, wow, it's funny you should mention Wraith because he's all about the shadow.
All right, so if we look at Shadow on page 269, we got a creature that's only a challenge half. So what kind of benefits would we be able to, derive from that?
Well, sometimes it's not about the benefit; it's about the feel, and the look.
No, he does have kind of like that Shadowfell kind of like influence of Shadow.
Yeah, like I'm in.
And I had an epic level evil campaign back in the day in college, and I had a particular character, and that's what I kind of wanted to base this idea off of.
So I think me and you were talking when we were driving, on a road trip driving, and you were telling me about this character, and I'm like, oh, to me it kind of